Forgiveness is often perceived as a gift we give to others, but at its core, it is a profound act of self-healing. Holding on to emotions like anger, resentment, or guilt not only weighs heavily on our emotional and physical well-being, but also disrupts the flow of life itself. True forgiveness allows us to release these burdens, reclaim our inner peace, and reconnect with our authentic selves. Emotions, at their essence, are energy in motion. When we hold on to negative emotions, we disrupt this natural flow, allowing anger, resentment, or guilt to stagnate within us. This stagnation creates emotional blockages, which can manifest as stress, anxiety, and even physical ailments. Instead of allowing these emotions to arise and pass, we often cling to them, replaying painful narratives that keep us tethered to past wounds. Anger and resentment in particular act like chains, keeping us locked in cycles of blame and judgment. They distort our perception of reality and prevent us from seeing situations clearly. Guilt, on the other hand, can feel like a heavy cloak of self-judgment, convincing us that we are unworthy of love or redemption. Together, these emotions form a feedback loop of suffering, reinforcing old wounds and limiting our capacity for joy, trust, and connection. On a physical level, clinging to these emotions activates the body's stress response. Prolonged stress floods the system with cortisol and adrenaline, weakening the immune system, promoting inflammation, and increasing the risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease or high blood pressure. Emotionally, these feelings can shape our identity, influencing how we see ourselves and interact with the world. They keep us stuck in survival mode, preventing us from living fully. Carrying these emotions is akin to clutching a burning coal, hoping to hurt someone else while only harming ourselves. Beyond affecting us individually, this pain can ripple through generations. Studies show that unresolved emotional patterns are often passed down, either genetically or through the environments we create. Letting go of resentment, guilt, or anger is not just an act of self-liberation, but also a responsibility to future generations. By processing and releasing these emotions, we create a new legacy rooted in healing and compassion. This transformation allows us to move beyond survival mode and embrace life's fullness. Often, the most challenging resentment to release is directed at those closest to us, especially parents. We might hold on to the belief that they could have acted differently, that they had the power to choose otherwise. However, this assumption is often rooted in misunderstanding. When people operate from unconscious patterns shaped by their past experiences and conditioning, they are not truly acting from free choice. Instead, they are driven by ingrained habits and unresolved pain. In this state, true freedom to choose is absent. If our parents acted out of their own unconscious struggles, how could they have behaved differently without a higher level of awareness? Recognizing this truth can dissolve resentment. It becomes clear that their actions, though painful, were not fully within their control. This understanding invites us to respond with compassion instead of blame. By seeing them as fellow human beings shaped by their own challenges, we begin to release the grip of judgment. In this shift, resentment fades, replaced by empathy and understanding. This is not about condoning harmful behavior, but about freeing ourselves from the heavy burden of blame. True freedom does not come from changing others or rewriting the past, but from changing how we view those events and our role in them. Forgiveness unfolds naturally when we realize that holding on to resentment serves no purpose other than to feed the ego's illusionary sense of self. The mind, rooted in ego, thrives on conflict and cannot forgive. It depends on strife and division to maintain its identity. Forgiveness, therefore, must come from a deeper place, one untouched by the mind's narratives. It reconnects us with the present moment, dissolving the grip of the past. When we forgive, we reclaim our power. The stories we've told ourselves about our pain lose their hold, and we step into a space of peace and acceptance. This process does not mean condoning or forgetting the past. It means no longer allowing it to define us. Forgiveness also involves letting go of resistance to what is. Resistance often manifests as defensiveness, withdrawal, or attack when faced with negativity or hurtful actions. For example, when someone says something rude or intentionally hurtful, our instinct might be to respond in kind or retreat into emotional pain. True forgiveness, however, means allowing that negativity to pass through us without resistance. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or avoiding confrontation. You can still set boundaries or express that someone's behavior is unacceptable. The key is doing so without being controlled by emotional triggers. In this state, you are no longer reactive but anchored in your own power. This principle extends beyond interpersonal interactions. Whether it's the noise of a car alarm, a rude remark, or a significant loss, the same practice applies. By ceasing resistance and remaining centered, we allow life to flow through us without being overwhelmed by external events. At its deepest level, forgiveness dissolves because the past loses its power over us. When we are fully present, we recognize that nothing done to us, or by us, can touch the radiant essence of who we truly are. We are not defined by our mistakes, our pain, or the harm others have caused. At our core, we are untainted by time or circumstance. This recognition transforms the entire concept of forgiveness. In the absence of attachment to the past, forgiveness becomes unnecessary. The need to forgive dissolves, leaving only peace and acceptance. We no longer identify with the person who was hurt or the person who caused harm. The first step in healing and moving forward is to acknowledge or identify the emotions you're holding on to. Begin by turning your attention inward and recognizing the anger, resentment, guilt, or unease that resides within you. Emotions are not meant to be suppressed or judged. They are signals asking to be felt and understood. Some emotions may be clear, like anger or grief, while others may manifest as vague sensations, like a heaviness in your chest or a tightness in your stomach. Whether you can name the feeling or not, what matters most is bringing it into awareness. Observe the emotion without resistance or mental analysis. Simply notice it, allow it to exist, and give it your full attention. This act of presence transforms the emotion, loosening its grip and allowing it to flow through you. By acknowledging these feelings and recognizing any mental patterns that sustain them, such as blame or resentment, you take a significant step toward emotional freedom. Attention and acceptance become the light that dissolves these heavy emotions, creating space for peace and clarity within you. Forgiveness is a profound liberation that allows us to step out of the mind's prison and into the freedom of our true selves. It dissolves the illusion of separation, reconnecting us with the flow of life. When we forgive, we not only free ourselves, but also create ripples of healing that extend to others and future generations. This act of release transforms pain into peace, judgment into compassion, and resistance into acceptance. Ultimately, forgiveness is not something we do for others. It is a gift we give to ourselves. By letting go of the past, we reclaim the present and step into the fullness of who we are.